Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and Spirit directly through channeling about your strengths. And I have 6 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, this will be group number 5, and this will be group number 6. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can pause the video. But if you don't need any more time, then just head down to the description box below to find your timestamp for your particular reading. And yeah. Hello, group number 1. You chose this Cirque du Tarot tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. Group number 1. The people who will choose group number 1. So I'll do the channeling now. So group number 1, Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 1 about what their strengths are? Where do their strengths lie? Okay, so I'm getting something about seduction. I think you're very good at seducing and attracting people, like through a more sensual energy, kind of luring people in with your sensuality. And I think that's a strength that you have naturally, and I think you're very good at using it already, but I think enhancing it would make this kind of a superpower for you, because you're already very good at it, and if you became better, you could really use this in your favor to attract people, attract an audience, seduce an audience, charm an audience with your sensuality. Yeah. I'm also sensing that there's something about your looks. The way you look is very attractive, and you could use that to your advantage as well. I'm sensing that some of you are very, very in touch with your sensuality, your femininity, your beauty and attractiveness. So this is not the message for you, if that's something you resonate with, but I am also sensing that some of you might have a harder time really getting in tune with that that melody, that whole thing. It's like, it's there, you're very sensual, you're very attractive, you can seduce and charm people very easily, but it's like you're kind of pushing it a bit away so that you don't have to I'm just getting that maybe some of you don't like to use it because you feel like maybe you shouldn't, or that it's too shallow, or that you should be using your, or that you're afraid of being associated with negative things, like being seen as a player, or as someone who's just thinking about like sex, or someone who's just flirty and maybe even a bit of a tease, or something that you're afraid of flirting too much with an audience, for example, because you don't want to send off the wrong message or something. But I think if you got over that barrier, I think it would really benefit you, and I think you would be very happy that you actually took that step and allowed yourself to be sensual and attractive, and yeah. So I think, I did hear something about pin-up girl, or pin-up artist, or something like, maybe some of you are also very good at drawing, maybe drawing sexy people, like bodies, stuff like that. And I think that's maybe something you should think about, like making into a career or something. Or become a model yourself. Use your body, use your beauty to take pictures, post pictures online of yourself, even though it feels maybe a bit shallow, or a bit like egocentric or something, but it's not really. We all use our talents. And I'm not saying this is your talent. I think you have a lot of talents too. But this is more like the thing that you have naturally, that you can use in order to get your messages across, in order to show your talents off to the world. Like if you are a very good artist, or a very good singer, or a very good like if you have a talent that you're very good at, you could sell it better if you try to use your seductiveness, your attractiveness, your charm and charisma to kind of put it out there. And there's no shame in that. We all sell ourselves, we all advertise ourselves, and especially when you're the product, then you have to sell yourself. If you're an artist, if you want to do something like write or sing or something like that, you kind of have to have some kind of presence, some kind of persona that you show to the world that makes people find you attractive or interesting enough to want to look at whatever you're doing. And I know it should be the other way around. In a perfect world, people should just be mesmerized by the art instead of the artist, but it's just rarely the case. People get intrigued by the person, and then they get amazed by their work. And I don't know if either of those are better than the other. They are just two different things. But two different sides of the same thing. Really, it's all. It has the same goal, and it has the same purpose, and it kind of succeeds that purpose in like you succeed the purpose in both ways. If it's the one way around or the other way around, it's so it really doesn't matter in the end, because people will still see your work, find it very interesting, like it, and get a message out of it that will help them. Like if you have, like it kind of is like you've been given a gift. Your beauty and your attractiveness and your seductiveness is a gift. You have another gift too, and those gifts are intertwined. It's this like it's in intelligent design in a way. Like you are supposed to put something out in the world. You're supposed to get your message across. You're supposed to change lives, possibly, with whatever gift you have, whatever talent you have. You could even be like a tarot reader also, or someone who is doing something where you give out messages. Also could be like inspirational speaker or something, or that could be something you could be very good at. And so you might have a lot of good messages to give to people that will change their lives. And how are these people gonna get these life-changing messages if they never find you? Because you're not advertising yourself and not using the things that you have going for you to attract an audience. So use what you have, and I think that would get you very far in your career. And yeah. So I'm gonna shuffle the cards now, see what the cards have to say. Whoops, sorry. Okay, so I'm interested in whatever felt. I sometimes read the fallouts, like of course I read the fallouts all the time, but the cards that fall to the floor, I tend to read those as things you need to get rid of, things you need to put out of, whatever, like maybe in this context your weaknesses, and these would be your strength, which is a big pile. And I don't know if I'm gonna actually, I think I'm gonna shuffle these and see if because it's a lot, but it could also just be that you have a lot of strength, and that you're just very gifted as a person. Yeah, I'm gonna go, yeah, so, okay. Yes, with a Chariot here, I think one of your strengths is that you have, you're good at forming a platform. In Rider-Waite, the Chariot is a chariot on top of a stage, and it is like having something on display, displaying your successes, displaying your strength. And I think one of the things that you're actually very good at is showing people what you're actually good at. So why are you here? Like, I don't know. But, you know, but I think you are very good at showing to the world, or sharing with the world your successes, sharing what you can, what you have going for you. And I think if you just become better at it, maybe you're already really good at it. So, but I think getting better at putting things out there, I'm also getting that you're kind of good at making reality beautiful, or taking something that's ugly and making it beautiful, or changing people's perception so that they will find something that's conventionally unattractive, or people don't see it as attractive, to actually make that into something very attractive. I'm also getting confidence here, that I think your strength is very much in your confidence, in the way that you are presenting yourself to the world. I think it's not. I am getting something about you taking yourself very seriously, and I think it's a good thing. Like, I don't take myself very seriously, but I don't like it. It's like I kind of have to not do that, or because if I start taking myself too seriously, people are gonna kind of get annoyed with me, I think. But I think there are people where it's just so, like, it never gets annoying. It never gets to the point where you get tired of it. Some people are just very like they take like they're good at like exuding success and seriousness in a more respectful way, where like even if you kid around, even if you say something where you are not taking yourself that seriously, people still take you very seriously. It's like you just earn people's respect very easily, and I feel like that's something you can use also to your advantage, because I think you could sell anything to people, and like no matter what you do or what you say, people are gonna kind of respect it. Like if I did a commercial or like an advertisement for some video game, people would probably not like that. But I think you could do that, and people would not get annoyed with you for doing it. And it's just a difference in, like, I think it has to do with likability, or it has to do with some kind of personality trait. You see it all the time. I see it all the time. Like when you're on TikTok or on Instagram or on YouTube, like one person can do a commercial or an advertisement, and it's cringy and unwatchable, and you feel like they shouldn't have done that because that's gonna, like, they are shooting themselves in the foot. And then you see someone else do the same thing, and they get away with it. You respect them for doing it, and you dig it for some reason. And it doesn't even have to do with the execution, because you can do the exact same thing. It has to do with the person doing it, the energy that person has when they do it, the confidence possibly also. If someone does something confidently, people are gonna buy into it. People are gonna feel like, oh yeah, this is not cringy at all, because this person is so relaxed in their own body that they can do this without flinching, without being awkward about it. And that is a big strength to have, and it's very good if you want a career in influencing or something on the internet where you have a platform. So yeah. With the Justice reversed, I think one of your strengths is that you don't you're more of a dictator, or you're not a dictator, but you're better at creating than following. You're better at leading than following. I mean, but also through creation. Like, you're not the type of person who's supposed to like do everything the same way as everybody else. You're not supposed to do trends on TikTok or something like that. You're supposed to be the one creating the trends. Like, if you're even interested in that sort of thing. If you're not, then it could just be that like you're someone who thinks outside the box, and like you're supposed to be the innovative brain behind some idea that nobody has ever thought of before, like being a trendsetter, being a first mover, not following the laws of society in the form of norms, not laws, like you're gonna follow the laws, hopefully. And I don't think you will ever get in a position where you don't have to, but maybe like it wouldn't be horrible to do something that's maybe like that's of course legal, but maybe in some kind of like something that some people would maybe find a bit outrageous, something where you rebel against something, maybe also do some activism or something, like do something where you dare to go first against something, and like, I don't know. Yeah. Changing the norms. With the Page of Swords, well, there is someone who's like in front of a mirror putting on makeup. So there could be something about using makeup. Maybe you're very good at setting your makeup, doing makeup, and that might be a strength of yours that could be very good in terms of getting a message across. Like, some people are very gifted in doing that, and so if you're good at like, if you're an artist, if you're good with colors and good with all of that, that is very that can be a very good advantage. So yeah, also designing, art, being creative. I'm also getting with a mirror that you could have, like, some of you could have a very philosophical side to you, where you like to contemplate about like who we are, why we are here, what's up with humanity, who are like what's the deal, you know. I don't know, but maybe you do. Maybe you like, I don't know. So maybe using that strength as well, the introspection, using your philosophical side. Maybe you're also into psychology, using that to maybe write a few books about something. I don't know. And you can do that on the side as well. You don't have, like, you're not a one-trick pony. You can do everything. I am sensing that you're very multi-talented, so you can do a lot of stuff simultaneously. So yeah. You could also do something where you use your makeup, like the people who do the true crime videos while putting makeup on. I'd never see that because I don't really find it interesting. But you could maybe mix things up so that you, like, if you're very good at makeup and very interested in like showing the world how to put on makeup or like do tutorials like that, you could like have a tutorial like that and then blend it with something else, like a topic that you're very interested in, like philosophy or something, like where you teach people how to do makeup while simultaneously teaching them something about philosophy or something. I don't know. I don't know if that would even work, but maybe, like, yeah. With a magician, I am sensing that you have a lot of strengths. Like, you have a lot of things that you can do. You can put on a lot of hats, a lot of different ones, and I think I think your ability to do many things at once is also one of your biggest strengths. Is that you don't have to do like one thing and stick to that one. Like, you can jump over to something else, like, and jump between things, like do YouTube videos while also writing, or while also doing, like, having a website or a blog, or like and sing and be in a band and do some paintings and sell them online, or like do everything at once, because I think it's something that is very unique to you, that you can do this, because many of us have a bit of a hard time multitasking in that sense. Like, we can't really do that many things at once. Like, I can't really do, or maybe I'm just talking for myself. Like, I can't talk for on anybody else's behalf, but for me, I kind of have a hard time doing many things at the same time. Like, I kind of get into these periods where I'm very focused on one thing, and then like it shifts. But I think you could possibly like make a schedule, like a daily schedule, where you use 2 hours of the day to do one thing, and then 2 hours to do another thing, and then 2 hours to do the third thing, like packing it into where you kind of do more things almost at the same time. So these these fell to the floor. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what this is. The weaknesses. With the star reversed, I think one of your weaknesses is that you don't believe that you, like, I think some of you might not be able to see what makes you so special. You might not feel very special, like all the stuff I said in the beginning, possibly about you being very seductive and sensual and attractive, might feel like they don't resonate with you, or you might feel like that's not something you can use to your advantage, because you might feel like even though you have a lot of confidence, maybe you just have the confidence in other things, like in the things that you can do, the things that you can, like your brain, your personality, and I think you might have to work on becoming more aware of your sensuality and using it to lure people in, with the Four of Pentacles reversed, I think one of your weaknesses could also be that you're maybe not the best at saving money, and that's maybe something you need to work on because maybe there will be some projects in the future where you will have to have some kind of startup fund, some money saved up in order to be able to get the project going. And so maybe being better at saving money for and see it as an investment, see it as you investing in your future career, because I'm also sensing that some of you might feel like you're not ready to bet everything on yourself, like on your stardom or on the fact that you can actually become very, very successful, which you can with the Chariot. It's very possible for you to be successful in whatever field you're interested in, but you might, like, the thing that might hold you back might be that you're not ready to invest in yourself, not ready to kind of bet everything on you, on the fact that sometimes it can be a very good sign to the universe, for instance, to kind of bet everything, like put everything out there. Not necessarily in terms of money, because I was saying that you have to save the money for future projects, but also just putting more of yourself out there. Not being so hesitant to give everything. Like if there's something that you want to do, but you feel like, oh, you're not that great at it, or there are other people that are better than you at it or something, then you're not, if you have that mindset, you're not going to put everything out there, because that would be too much of a risk. But if you change the mindset into believing more in yourself, believing that you can actually succeed just as much as everybody else if you just do it, like because you have the charm, you have the seductiveness, and you have the and you have the talents for it. So maybe you also feel like you're more talented than most, but for some reason people who are not as talented as you are getting a lot of attention on the internet, and you might feel like that's a bit unfair, that people are getting in front of the line when they have very little to actually offer. But it might be that like they are playing a different game than you. If you're not using all your assets, everything you've got to kind of get further into the further out there, you're not you're maybe not really playing the same game as them, because the reason why they are getting so much attention is possibly because they are very good at selling themselves and selling a persona, selling their looks, and selling and doing those things, and you could do the same. So you could get the same attention, the same recognition, if you played by their rules, like did the same things as they do. And yeah, with the Tower reversed, I feel like you might be holding on to something that is kind of holding you back. Like if you want a career in singing or in art or something like that, you might be holding on to a job, or because singing might not be paying your bills, or something like that. And well, the job might be getting in the way of you actually pursuing a career in singing or in art. And so so maybe one of your weaknesses is that you're maybe holding on to security, safety, something that that feels safe to you, like a job or a place. Like you might be living in a town where there are very few possibilities, but you might feel like you can't really move to a bigger town with bigger opportunities because there's too much tying you to the spot that you live in. But maybe you have to work on kind of letting go of the things that are tying you down, and maybe then you will have an easier time getting through and getting out there and getting out with your talents and work and put it out in public. Maybe even find people that can maybe help you with some of your projects, and maybe those people who can help you are in bigger towns. But I don't know. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Group number 1, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and If you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And yeah, have a great day and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose this Grunge Tarot, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. Group number 2. So yeah, I'm gonna do the channeling now. So group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2. Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 2? What are group number 2's strengths? What are their strengths? Okay, so I'm getting something about using something that's actually a weakness and making it into something that's kind of a superpower. Like taking something that is like that you've been struggling with and flipping it around and actually using it as a strength, using it as something to get forward in life, use it to form a career, like a foundation for a career. And I feel like it's something that you have considered a weakness your whole life, but you can easily flip it around and then it's a superpower. And I feel like you might have struggled with something like an addiction or mental illness or something like that. And I think this struggle, I think many of you have overcome this struggle or are about to overcome it. And I think like when you're on the other side of it, you're gonna realize that you can look back at it and actually kind of make fun of it and actually and actually use it to kind of help others who are in the same situation. So if you have struggled with addictions, you can help other people who are also struggling with addictions and help them through it. If you're on the other side of it, if you've managed to overcome it, then you have the strength to kind of use that. You could also like do comedy, I feel like, where you take something like some topic like addiction or mental illness and talk about it in a funny way, like make jokes about it, even though it's something that you've struggled with your whole life and it's been very difficult. I think you have the ability to kind of put a humorous spin on it, to make it more consumable for an audience, to still get the message across, still help the people that needs to be helped, but by doing it in a way where even people who don't know what you've been through and don't really recognize that the same struggles or resonate with them can still find it amusing to listen to you talk about it. Like have a podcast also where you could talk about something that's very difficult but in a very funny way, where you're also able to see some of the funny side of it, some of the things that I'm also getting that you're probably very good at writing. So writing a book about what you've been through, how you overcome it, could also really get you far in life, because I think your strength is really in the storytelling, in sharing personal details about your life in a funny way or just a very intriguing way, where you are very good at captivating an audience and make people very invested in a story. But I'm gonna shuffle the cards to see what the cards have to say about your strengths, group number 2. You could also write songs about it, like could be a very good songwriter. With a death card, I think one of your biggest strengths is your ability to talk about something that's very difficult for people to talk about, but do it in an open space where people actually feel safe to discuss it. And so I'm sensing that you have a very light personality, very bright and very but also just very open and very direct personality, where you get people's trust very easily and you can make people open up very easily. And so I could really see you as an interviewer as well, interviewing people for a podcast or something like that, where you talk about something, maybe death, grief, dealing with something that's very difficult to talk about, taboo subjects, talking about postpartum, talking depression, talking about things that can be very hard to I don't know, but just hard to discuss. But I think you have an ability to get people to actually open up about it and put it into words what they are feeling. And you could be also like a very good therapist, getting people to open up about things that, and maybe even realize things about themselves that they didn't know or that has been hidden for them. Getting, revealing childhood trauma, or getting that out up to the surface, get people to kind of go through some healing where they heal the past. With the 8 of Wands reversed, I think your strength is also your patience. I think you have a great patience with people, like, and that's also one of the things that would make you a very good interviewer, a very good therapist, very good journalist, like, because you have the patience to talk to people and get the things, get the information, and allow people to take their time, like not rush people, because you know that if you rush people, they will shut up and they won't share anything. But if you pull back and allow them to take all the time that they need, they will eventually get there. And then you can, and also, like, if you have a podcast, like, you can always, like, cut it out, like, if there's, like, big long pauses or something like that, you can always cut it out. So there's no reason to rush people, because but I think that's something you're very good at. I think you're good at giving people your time, sharing your time with people in a way where they feel like you're not in a rush, you're not going anywhere, you're not thinking about anything else while interviewing them. You're very in tune with them. Also, when you talk to people, like, through therapy or like something, life coaching or something like that, you give people, like, you're able to give people your complete focus, so that people feel like you're actually paying attention. You're not looking out the window. You're not thinking about something completely different. You're not looking at the clock and or the watch and just waiting for it to be over. Like, you give people your devotion and you give. I think people can just tell that you actually want to hear their story. Also, so I think people also can tell very easily that you're interested in them. Like, you actually have a fascination for people and their stories, and sharing your stories and listening to other people's stories. And, like, stories might be something that's just a very big thing for you. Like, not necessarily just telling your own story, but you could also tell other people's stories, like through ghostwriting or something like that. With the 10 of Wands, I think your strength, one of your biggest strengths, is that you're a very hard worker. You don't stop before you're done. Like, when you do something, you do it fully. You don't stop halfway. You're very good at remaining focused. Devoting your life to a cause, giving, like, a project your whole life, like waking up in the morning and do the work that you've set your mind to do, and then just keep doing it until you go to sleep at night. Like, just like, I think you could be a bit like workaholic, but it's still a strength, even though it's not necessarily, it's also a weakness. So again, like I said in the beginning, like, your weakness, like, you have a strength that is also considered a weakness, maybe, like, and that could be the workaholic thing, that it is admirable. It is something that you have, that you can do, and it gets a job done, even though maybe you have a bit of a hard time relaxing. But but it's still a strength to be able to focus. Yeah. With the Chariot, I think your strength is also your ability to build something from the ground up, build a platform where there are, like, I feel like I could see you do something in the future, for instance, like something on social media, or like where you build a platform where it's not about you, it's about everybody else. Like, I think that would be something that would be very sustainable for you, because I don't think it would be good for you to do something where you're completely alone about it all the time. Like, because I think you have too much of an interest in other people to only have like a YouTube channel about yourself, or like you wouldn't find that interesting, and so it wouldn't be sustainable, because you would burn out and find it pointless at some point. But I think you can. I could see you do like an interview channel, like if you are interested in social media or building some kind of platform. If you're not, then just ignore it or try to make it make sense in your world. But some kind of platform where you give people a voice to talk about things where they are not agreeing with each other, like taking two people, like interviewing two people that have opposite opinions and beliefs, and make them talk to each other and see like if they can start understanding each other. Doing something like that, where yeah. Because I think you have a very great ability to understand people, to understand different people, be tolerant to all different types of people, seeing everybody's side, like being like the diplomat between two, like being the mediator, being the meddler of two, where you can kind of make two people see eye to eye, even though they have fundamental differences in beliefs. And I think that there could come something very interesting out of that. I think you could also be very good at anything that has to do with politics, and news anchoring also. Interviewing, journalism, yeah. But also, I think one of your greatest strengths is that you're not stubborn in your ways. Like you're not so like inside the box that you can't see anything that isn't like what you understand, like it isn't exactly what you believe is the right thing. Like many people are very stubborn in their opinions and in the way they look at the world, and in their religious beliefs, and they have a hard time talking to people who are not agreeing with them because they just block it out. But I think you're very good at listening to what people actually have to say, even if you disagree with them on a fundamental level. You give them, like, you would be able to give them a platform to talk about what their opinion is, and you could probably also end up agreeing with them at some point, because you're more fluid in your perception or in your opinions, and like you're curious about the world, you're interested in the world and interested in different views, and you would like to have someone change your mind. That wouldn't be a problem for you, because it's all about growing. If we never change our minds, we never grow. So yeah. And yeah, so with the death, I think you have the strength to be transformative. Like, you transform yourself all the time, and you also transform others. Like, you can make people. You're probably also very good at arguing stuff, like making a good case. Like, you could be a lawyer as well. Like, being good at putting out all the good arguments that will win a case, or also listening to other people's arguments and actually taking them in, and allowing other people's opinions to actually form yours, not just have some kind of conversation where one person tells their opinion and then the other tells their opinion, and then like nobody changes and nobody grows because they are just listening to themselves talk. Like, a lot of people do that, where like you're having a conversation with them, but you can just tell like it's not really going anywhere, because the other person is only focused on like having some kind of monologue, and you can tell that the whole conversation is just a monologue for them. Like, they are just practicing their opinion and perfecting their opinion without actually listening to what you're saying, or what the other is saying. And I feel like you're very different. You're not that way. You're better at actually, like, you're more curious. You're more intrigued by what people have to say, and you don't believe you have all the right answers either. So of course you're not stubborn in your opinion, because being completely stubborn in one's opinion is an indicator that you are kind of like it is kind of self-absorbed and kind of arrogant, because like then you believe you have the correct answer and everybody else have the wrong answer, and yeah, someone like that would not be very good at interviewing or good at like therapy, like being like, so that's something you can do. And I think the fact that you, well, it's just people skills, I guess. Like, you have social skills, and it's not just, I said that wrong, but it's a really good thing, and it's something that not a lot of people have. Like not a lot of people have very good social skills, so it's a very good strength to have, and it's something that could really get you very far in life if you pursue a career where you're dealing with people every day. So yeah. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And yeah, if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose the Mops Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle these cards here. So I'm gonna do the channeling now. So yeah, Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 3, the people who will choose group number 3? What are their strengths? What are group number 3's strengths? I am getting that one of your biggest strengths is that you can create coziness, or you can create some kind of sensation in people where people feel create a mood or create an energy or a feeling for people, like you might just have a really great ability to, for instance, decorate a room so that it feels comfortable, cozy, makes people feel energized but also relaxed, create the walls that make for the spiritual stuff, like create an arena for the for spirituality, or for I'm just this is a bit it's like creating a space where you're creating the space in a way to optimize the feelings and sensations that will blossom within the space. This, by using props, using things, using the like, for instance, if you worked in, like, you could be very good at working in an art department of any type of firm or any type of company, where you could make, like, you could optimize the spaces with, like, to make people even to make people more productive, or to make people more relaxed, or make people like it is an art form. It is something that some people have a really good eye for, how to kind of bend the earth to make the air to make the air flow more freely, being some this could have something to do with feng shui and stuff like that. But I'm also just getting, like, this is something I don't know a lot about. Sorry, you probably know a lot about this stuff, and I have absolutely no clue what this is about, because I don't really know anything about that world, but I assume that there's a whole magic to bending air and making, like with the feng shui, and making spaces into, like making houses into what's it called? What's it called? Into shrines, or is that no? Is the shrine like making it a temple, where you're using things to change people's behavior, so that people are like you. We have a lot of people in marketing doing that sort of stuff, even though it's not necessarily magic they are doing, but they are doing something that is kind of illusionary, and like making illusions, kind of manipulating the human behavior by, for instance, using music to make more people more productive at work, or using artwork to make people have certain associations that will then trigger them into doing better or performing better. So having a picture, like having I don't know, this is a random thought, and it might not make sense, but like having a picture of Obama right before you have to, like if you have a worker that has to do public speaking, and or something, like if you have and then having like someone who's a very good public speaker, could also be someone else, like having a picture of them could trigger them to have more confidence in their public speaking, or using things that make people, like, I don't even know if any of this makes sense to you, but I think you could be very good at decorating, good at creating moods with decorating, using certain objects to make people feel a certain way. Could also use it if you have a platform, like if you have a YouTube channel, or if you have some kind of other social media channel or social media platform, using the decorations in order to give off some kind of mood, make people feel a certain way, and yeah. I'm also getting something about using like senses, like smells, using incense in order to create a mood, using fragrances in order to, like if you have a fragrance in a store, and you choose a fragrance that is very known to people, like cinnamon, a cinnamon fragrance, if you have that in a store, people will maybe when they then smell that fragrance or smell cinnamon later on, they will think about the store. And it's a very good way to advertise without actually advertising, by printing associations into people's brains, by using senses, using things that make them remember the store when they are met with ordinary things out in the world. Taking something very ordinary, something that people will very likely find out in the world, and then think about the store. For instance, also like taking like using art that actually has that is likely to be seen somewhere else could also create the association. Using things like using colors also. You just using something that will eventually lead them to having associations when meeting. I think you get it. So I think you could have also a good sense of advertising, good way to like maybe good marketing sense, where you understand how to keep an keep an audience or keep customers, kind of holding on to customers by using some tricks or some ways to manipulate them into remembering or into like knowing what they need before they know they need it and stuff like that. Using also, like if you're psychic, which I think many of you are, I think you're very intuitive, like you're very intuitive. I think you could easily like make a career by using your intuition to find out like what your customer base would like to see more of. Like if you have a business or if you run a business, knowing what they would, what type of people you are dealing with, and then kind of guessing what products they are gonna want to buy in the future. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about group number 3's strengths. Okay, so with the five of cups reversed, I think you have the ability to see the glass half full instead of half empty. Like you see the opportunities instead of seeing the things that can go wrong. You see more the positive side of things, and I think that's one of your biggest strengths, is that you can actually see possibilities, see options, see doors opening up for you. Like many people walk by open doors without really noticing that they are there, but I think you are very good at noticing when a door is opening for you and where you have to just go for it and not overthink it. Just follow your intuition and see where it leads you. With the Chariot reversed, I think your strength is to be more behind the scenes, manipulating the scene, manipulating an audience without actually being there, like being the illusionist in a way where you're making people, like you're influencing people, but you're doing it through mediums, things that like if you want a message across, you might be better at putting something out there, like through, like where you are behind the scenes, and like the artwork kind of talks for itself, like writing a book, but also like having a business where you put all your personality into the business, and the business is you, and it is a reflection of you because you've put all your mind work and all that into it, and you've thought about all the details about it, and all the decorations, and all the things, and all the products, and like you've chosen everything very wisely, and like, but so everything in the store, like if you had a store, for instance, everything in the store would be completely your choices, reflecting your personality, reflecting you, but without actually you being there. Like you're making a you in something else, putting you inside something else, so that people will be in awe of what they are seeing, but they don't actually know the person who is actually behind the creation. But they don't have to, because so much of you is already there, so they know you without actually knowing you. Because your personality shines through. And I think you could do that with everything you did. Like you could, like, whatever you would choose to do, you could do that. You could put your whole personality into it. But also I'm thinking of like writing, but maybe writing under a pen name. Or like, yeah, because like it's not because you can't be in the spotlight. I'm just sensing that maybe most of you don't like it. Like you like to be behind the scenes more, and yeah. Also doing YouTube videos, for instance, where you maybe do animations or do something where you don't show your face, but you do something, maybe you use your voice, but like your face is not out there, so it's like low risk, but you still put all your personality into it, so it's still you, but without the risk of people noticing you, and and having kind of that whole headache to have to, like, that, yeah, I don't know. With a Page of Swords, I think your strength is in your mental abilities, like being able to outsmart a lot of people, and using that kind of to your advantage, that you are able to figure out what people need before they need it, kind of able to mind read as well, kind of able to manipulate them also, maybe, like people, I don't know. And that is still a strength, to be able to manipulate an audience, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Everybody kind of does that, so it's not a it's not a horrible thing. of course not full on propaganda or something, but manipulating people with like small things, like small association pieces, like having something, like putting, like if you made YouTube videos using like nostalgia stuff to kind of lure people in and make people think about the 90s because, oh, well, you're wearing a shirt that many people wore in the 90s or something. Or doing something where you trigger people's nostalgia and make people feel a certain way. I'm also getting something about ASMR, that you could do that sort of thing to, like if you wanted to, you could probably be very good at ASMR. But of course, like not only ASMR, but like I think you could do it where like you take everything, like all the senses, and like stimulate all the senses at once to kind of create a certain feeling. I don't know. With Seven of Wands, I think one of your strengths is that you're very good at dealing with opposition, dealing with people who are maybe also envious of you, jealous of you in some way, like you don't let that get to you. Also, just I'm sensing that even though you probably want to be anonymous for now, like in whatever you do, like you want to be behind the stage, not being the one who's like the what's what's it called, the mock-up, or like the centerpiece. But if you changed your mind about that, then I think you could be very good also in the limelight, because you have a good ability to not let haters get to you. And even if you think you don't have that right now, I think you would be quite fast at learning to ignore the haters, and maybe even slap back at some of them, and kind of take it in a good way, where you're where, yeah, I don't know. And with the Page of Pentacles, I think your strength is also in the educational system. I think you could very easily get a degree. I think you're very smart, and teaching could also be something you could be very good at. Yeah. Also, finding ways to teach difficult stuff in a better way, where people actually take it in. Like, for instance, maybe using senses to help people learn stuff. I don't know if that works, but making making certain things, like associating certain memories or things that you have to memorize with a feeling, could possibly make it easier to remember stuff. Like, yeah, I remember reading something about magic, I think, and like it was about making these ceremonies where people would try to summon an entity, like a god, or like a planet, or like Mercury, and then summoning that and getting all associations that would come in the ceremony, or that they would try to make some kind of map where, like, they would find out that Mercury would be associated with some color, some god, some sound, smell, a metal, a rock, an element, like all, like, and then like, so take all of the things that would come up in that ceremony to kind of describe that entity as one whole, and having, I don't really remember what it was about, but but it kind of helps, I guess, to kind of get as many things to one thing, to make one thing into more, into a bigger thing, but into a more taking, I don't know, I don't even know what it was about, but it was something I just, I don't know. Maybe you could maybe one of your strengths is also in magic and in the occult and illusions, and but also summoning stuff and making ceremonies, seances, channeling could also be something you could do. Yeah, but also, if not the spiritual stuff, then it could be like you could use this also to learn languages, or like teach people languages by taking every word and kind of make an association to that word so that people remember it more easily, or something. Making some kind of map where you kind of take one word and load it with different stuff so that it's so loaded that you can't forget it, because you have so much associated to that word, or something. I don't know. But yeah, but that's all I have for you. Group number 3, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading, check the description box below for more information on how to get one, and Have a great day and bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this Miss Cleo's tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4. Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 4? What are group number 4's strengths? What are their strengths? I am getting that your strength is has to do with you have natural strengths that you were born with, but I'm also getting that one of the most I feel like you had a different upbringing than most. Like there's something about your upbringing that was a bit peculiar, or just not like you might have felt like you were a bit different from everybody else. Like everybody else were doing these normal things while you were maybe stuck at home doing something completely different. I don't know if you had parents who were very religious or very conservative or like very intellectual, like very focused on academia. So you had to learn like a lot of stuff from a very early age, like playing an instrument or something, or learning something like math before you started school, or like I'm sensing a lot of pressure from your parents to and this pressure building up throughout your childhood to be a certain way, or to do something very specific, very particular, having like a mission or a life goal, or some life path that you had to pursue, and knowing that you had to pursue that life path as a child or something. I don't know, but I'm just feeling like very trapped in feeling like it's not possible to rebel against their commands or their wishes. Being very I'm also getting a lot of anxiety. And I think one of the biggest, I'm getting a few things here. I'm getting that one of your biggest strengths is possibly something you don't want to do, because it's something your parents might have kind of beat into you, like they made you do it. Like if you're very, very, very good at playing the violin, it wasn't without a sacrifice. Like you sacrificed a lot of your childhood to become that good at playing the violin. So it's not a strength that you're very fond of, because it's something that's associated with negative memories, feelings of not having a childhood like everybody else. And so I feel like that is still a big strength of yours. But I understand if you don't want to use that strength, but there could be something where, like, if you dealt with it, maybe at some point you could get back to it without getting angry and getting anxious about it, because there might be a lot of anxiety built up in that talent, because you've always felt like you had to become good at it, you had to perform perfectly. But I think, I think one of your, like, I think you have natural strengths too. And I don't think it's a natural strength, even though it's the thing that I think your parents kind of forced you to do. I think it's something that you have, like, I'm sensing that many of you are actually on a very high level at that particular thing. Like that strength is very high level, but I don't think it was necessarily a natural strength for you. Like, it wasn't something you were born with, it's something you learned, and maybe it wasn't even something that came naturally or easily to you in the beginning. But it's of course easy for you now, because you've had a lot of teaching and but I think there are strengths that you have that are more natural. But it's possibly something that you knew you had when you were younger. I am sensing that some of you discovered a natural talent when you were 8 or 9, or I know that's a bit specific, but like, you might have discovered it very early on, but your parents might have kind of shut that down and forced you in another direction, because it wasn't up to their standard, or it wasn't something they had respect for, so you had to do something that they respected more. And so I feel like this could have been neglected. What is it? What's the natural strength? Some of you already know, so, but yeah, I feel like it could be something that has to do with singing or poetry, writing. But somehow this was maybe not, even though writing should have been something your parents would have been proud of, but maybe the kind of writing you wanted to do was not something they had respect for. So maybe, like, you wanted to do poetry slam, but your parents looked down on that, or maybe you wanted to do comic books, or rapping, rap songs or something, and that was maybe not something maybe you're very good at rapping, like maybe you're very good at saying a lot of words really fast, and that could also help in poetry slam. So also in what's it called, in the I don't know, yeah. Yeah, I'm sensing that you have a natural talent for something to do with using your voice and using words and saying words fast, or like something to do with like that sort of mechanism that's just very a very good tool. Also rhythm could be something, maybe you have a very natural rhythm, possibly a good dancer, because of the rhythm, because you can do like also where you like the robotic thing where people dance like a robot, but like they do the small movements but really fast, so that it looks like it's mechanic. But yeah, I'm gonna shuffle the cards and see what the cards have to say about your strengths. I'm also getting critical thinking. I think you're very good at looking at things and criticizing things, and like reviewing stuff. This is not the natural talent I was talking about. That was more about but this is more of a strength. I think I feel like you have a strength to, also with the Five of Cups. This is the pessimism. It's the criticism. It's a half the glass half empty. And I actually also felt it right before. And but I'm gonna turn it into a positive, because I feel like some of you might not have been that fond of some of the things I've been saying in this video. Maybe some of you have even felt like it did not resonate and that I'm just a fraud that is just saying a lot of bullshit and none of it actually makes sense or something. And you can turn that into a positive thing, because like you could make a career in being a critic, and seeing the seeing like finding out people's weaknesses and then pointing them out for the sake of entertainment. Like making movie reviews, where you just take a movie that people spend a lot of time making and then just slice it up, and that is like that's it is a good, like you could make a career out of being critical, thinking about all the things that are not working out, instead of pointing out what people are actually good at, then finding out what is not going for them and pointing that out. reviewing music, that people have spent a lot of time composing and pointing out that some of it was a bit false, or like the tones were a bit false, like at one point, or that this beat did not fit in the rhythm of the music. Of course, I'm putting a negative spin on it just to point out to you that there's also a different side of the story. There's sometimes it's all fun and games to criticize and review stuff when you're not thinking about the creator, when you're just thinking about the content as a thing that exists without the person behind it being intertwined into it, and like seeing it as two separate things. And many people do it, and so like I also watch movie reviews on YouTube as well. So I'm not a saint. I do that too, and I also laugh at people who make jokes about movies they don't like. But if you do it in a funny way, it could be a very, like you could very easily build an audience doing that. Of course, maybe be a bit watchful that you don't go overboard in the negativity, even though the negativity is good, could get you very far. But there is a very thin line between like doing the reviews and then like downright bullying people, and I think you can manage that though. I think you are able to do that. It is with the Wheel of Fortune, I think your strength is also well, you could be quite good at being a psychic, tarot reading or something like that. Could also be why you're maybe a bit more negative towards me. Maybe it's not like it, which is a fine thing. Like, you can have your opinion, and an opinion is often formed because we believe we can do it better, and so we want the other person to be as good as we are. So we want the other person to change, to level up to our level. So it could be that you're just really good at it. And if you are very good at reading tarot, you should definitely do that as a career. Because if you're as good as you say you are, I'm sorry. I know I'm giving you a hard time, but I am a bit sensitive when I get too much negative energy, and I know I'm kind of putting it out on the majority. I know the majority of you are good people. There are just a small minority that has a very negative energy right now, and so I'm sorry, but know that like this, if this doesn't resonate with you, if you're not having those thoughts, then just ignore it. It's just I'm just telling the people that are hating right now while watching this what I'm just talking to them, and I'm gonna stop talking to them, to those of you, because I don't think it's gonna help the situation to address it too much. So I'm just gonna shut up about it. So, but with the Wheel of Fortune, could be very good at tarot reading. Could also be very good at you could have a strength to take risks, being good at seeing opportunities. And also dreaming big. I feel like many of you are very good at envisioning a future for yourself, and possibly also using the law of attraction and manifesting things into reality. Of course, with the snake here on the wheel, I feel like some of you might have to be watchful that you don't go into the dark stuff. Like if you're into, for instance, magic, try to make it as light as possible. Don't go too much into the dark magic, because it can end up consuming you, and maybe that is not a good place to be. So like one thing is to want something and pray for something and manifest it in more or in less extreme ways, but when you go out and actually do the heavy spell work and stuff like that, especially if you go too much into the whole what's it called, I don't remember, but rituals, stuff in Latin and stuff like that. It's not because nothing bad is gonna happen if you do it, but also maybe keep a bit out of like devil worship. Maybe I'm not gonna tell you not to do that. Of course, you have freedom of like whatever you like. You can believe in whatever, and no religion is less than the other. And I'm not gonna like if I tell you to go to stop worshipping Satan, that could be considered a hate crime, or like me trying to I don't know how it could be turned around to something negative, even though I'm really just saying it because I think it could just be a bit not risky, because I don't actually believe in dark. I don't believe in anything that is dark. I know you're gonna make fun of me for doing that pause after saying I don't believe in anything, because oh yeah, then it's proof that I'm just not a believer or not psychic or whatever. I don't know. I'm a kind of tired of this energy. I really just want it to be over. I'm sorry. Like, if you're not in, like, if you don't resonate with any of this, please just choose another pile or something, because I'm just this is just the energy that is coming through here, and it's really hard to get it back to the background and get something else to the foreground, because it's just it's very consuming. Like, the dark is very consuming, and I don't like. But of course, I don't believe there's any risk in what you're doing. Only a risk to maybe your mental health, because the risk is more what we believe in. Like, if we believe in dark, dark can potentially manifest into our life. If we believe in evil and evil entities, they tend to show up, and maybe I don't know. This is a very bad reading, I know. This is not about your strength. And I'm gonna ask again. I'm gonna ask the cards again about your strengths. What's group number 4 strength? 2 of coins. I think you have an ability to juggle a lot of things at once. I think you could also potentially juggle some of the more risky things, because I think you can actually, like, break the waves or kind of navigate through hardships in a masterful way. Maybe you also work better when you are in a more chaotic situation, that it kind of keeps you alert when there's chaos around you, so that, like, you feel maybe more safe when you are solving a problem, even if that problem was a problem that you kind of created yourself. But then, like, solving it will keep you alert and keep you maybe more focused. And like putting out fires might be something that, like, I think you're better at problem solving than maybe planning ahead. Maybe you could be a bit more procrastinating, but I think it's more to the point where you like to postpone things so that there's chaos at the end, because the chaos gives you some kind of adrenaline kick that makes you more focused and makes you perform better, possibly. But I think you have the ability to juggle a lot of things and solve problems that other people would just consider unsolvable or just too much. Like, I think you're good at facing things that, like, things that people usually are too much of a coward to do, and maybe you also feel like when you like criticize something or when you review something that you're actually doing the world a favor, because you're kind of taking one for the team, because you're not just saying to someone. Maybe you feel like your honesty is very valuable, and it is. Like, I can tell that. I think many times you have given people constructive criticism that actually helps them perfect their art and actually make them grow. But I think also sometimes you might do the opposite, and maybe taking a bit too much pleasure in doing so, which is not a crime. But yeah. But I think instead of criticizing people, and I think you could do what you're criticizing. I think that would maybe get you further in life, like get you to perform better. It would be like if you review content online, become a content creator yourself and make the perfect product that you are seeking from other people. Like the product that you seem to want from others, you could make it yourself. You could take matters into your own hands and actually create the perfect thing that you seem to have in your, like you have a vision of what a perfect tarot reading would be. And when you have that vision of a perfect tarot reading, make it, record it, post it to the world, and then it like perfect, make it perfect. Make if you see a gap in the market, fill it up, and yeah. And it is a strength to be able to see the gap. And that is, like, the critical thinking is a positive thing. To be able to see, or not necessarily critical thinking, but criticizing, can, like, see, like, if you criticize the clothes that are available right now, like the fashion, for instance, like if you think everybody's, like, kind of dressing in a bad way, or that all the stores have ugly clothes or something, then you have the ability to actually change that and actually make your own thing. You can do better than the people you're criticizing and make whatever you want from them, make it yourself. And that could potentially give you a lot of success in the future if you're able to find that gap and fill it up. And yeah. But I think that's all I have for you. Group number 4. I hope this reading was helpful. Yeah. I'm not gonna say that you should that you should get a personal reading from me, because, well, maybe not. But yeah, and I wouldn't say you should subscribe. Like, I don't know if you would actually enjoy my content if you subscribed to my channel when you're clearly not a fan. So I think there are a lot of other very good tarot readers that you could seek guidance from if you wanted to, or you could read tarot cards yourself, like do your own spreads at home with your own tarot cards, because then the interpretations would always be perfect because you're doing them. And take out the middleman and just be your own creator of and dictate your own life. And yeah. But have a great day though. And bye. Hello, group number 5. You chose this Tarot of Mermaids tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you, group number 5. So, Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 5? The people who will choose group number 5, about what their strengths are. What are their strengths? Group number 5. I think your strength is a lot in, like, I think your strength is like your emotional side, your ability to communicate emotions or show emotions through maybe a medium, through some kind of art or singing or storytelling or writing or something where, like, I feel like you have a very good ability to put emotions into words, talking about emotions, talking about things that maybe people have a hard time talking about as well, and doing it in a way where it's very delicate, like you're good at, you could be an empath, because I'm sensing that you're very good at sensing other people's emotions, sensing if they, like, if they are feeling bad, or if they are holding on to something from the past, or if something is triggering them. Like, you might be able to notice certain triggers and read them. Like, if someone flinches at something, then you might be able to know exactly what's behind that, what's behind the flinch, what's behind their reaction, and what their reaction is telling about their story, about who they are, and how they deal with their traumas. And I think you have a lot of social intelligence, emotional intelligence. You're very good at reading people and talking to people and getting people to open up and healing people, getting them to calm down. You could be very good at having group meditations and stuff like that, where you lead a meditation and use your voice to lead a meditation. You could have a very calming voice that makes people feel very relaxed and very comfortable in your presence. I think people are very comfortable around you, like in general, I don't think there are anyone who actually dislikes you or feels uncomfortable around you, or like, I think you are a very, well, I want to say universal, but like you're a very universal being, whatever that means. Like I wanted to meet, like what I was thinking when I said the universal being stuff, I was thinking more in terms of being universal, being someone who everybody kind of can relate to, no matter where they are from, what language they speak, what culture they come from, what age they are. Like you seem to be able to communicate with a very broad audience, and even if you can't communicate with someone with words, I think you have the ability to kind of communicate with people non-verbally as well, maybe through telepathy or through or through like the opposite of telepathy, where you kind of put, like where you read the person but also kind of communicate in a way where they kind of get some images in their mind, even though you're not using words, but kind of transferring images across, like it's some metaphysical stuff. I'm not sure really what it is, because it seems to be something I'm not really familiar with, but something about transferring images between people without using words, and maybe not even using expressions, facial expressions, or anything that could tell anything, but actually just through mind transference. Like a person, if it could be like that you can do this with a person where you're facing opposite directions with your face, like you're not looking at each other directly, so there's no actual way to read each other or communicate with each other, because you're not seeing or hearing the other person, but still somehow being able to transfer information to that person with the mind. I don't know if it's possible. I've never tried it. I don't know what it, like, I guess it is, because, well, I can take I can take information from another, like I can read someone's mind. I kind of have to have a medium, though, the spirit kind of being the medium that transfers the information to me and communicates it from the other person to me. I don't know if don't know. I've never really thought about doing it the other way around, though. Like taking information from me and getting spirit to transfer it into another person. I guess it could work, but I don't really know how that would work. But it's your strength, though, and so it's not mine. So if you can do it, that's really cool, though. That's definitely something you should use. That could be really good with non-verbal autistic children. Possibly like a very good thing, like if you could actually communicate with a non-verbal person with autism, or with something else that makes them non-verbal, to somehow be able to give something to them and get something in return without it, because it's also with autistic children, very, very autistic children, like it wouldn't even help with the facial expressions. It wouldn't help with anything physical either. So sometimes like you have nothing to actually be able to, like, you feel like nothing can actually be used to communicate between you and that person. Being able to do it spiritually could be a good way to do it. I wouldn't rule that out. I think it's a good possibility, actually. If it works, if you could make it work. But yeah. I think, like, I've tried to do it sometimes. Like, I guess it's not completely foreign to me. Like, I guess it is kind of like spiritual healing, using like images in your head to sort of change or heal someone else, or not change but heal the person. Like, I read some article about someone who was healing children with ADHD, and she did it spiritually, with spiritual healing. And she talked about, like, in that article, she talked about using the image of like water to put out the fire within the child with ADHD, because a child with ADHD is a lot of fire, and so getting in there and kind of picturing that she was using her hands to put out the fire with water, that somehow that, but it's not really the same thing as the mind transfer stuff, but it's still kind of in the same way of using something in your mind to do to heal someone else, to make something in that. Yeah, I don't know. So you could be very good at healing people. But I'm gonna shuffle the cards. With a Knight of Swords, I think you have a strong ability to get through to people, also in a way where, because you have the empathy, because you are very good at being delicate when you have to be, like when you have to be mild towards a person, you're very good at being mild and not being too strict. If you can tell that it will have the opposite reaction than you want it to, then you know, okay, that's not going to help in this situation. In this situation, I have to be more sensitive and be more like soft-spoken. It won't help if I raise my voice, because it's just going to make it worse. You're very likely very good in like any work that has to do with children, child therapist, kindergarten teacher, anything that has to do with caring for children, working in an orphanage or something like that. I think you could do a lot of good, because I think you have a very great ability to understand children and communicate with them even if there's absolutely no way to communicate. Like if they have no language, if they have no like facial expressions or able to read facial expressions or like anything where nothing actually works, then you still find ways to communicate with that child. And I think you have a very good way of connecting, maybe also on a spiritual level, where you can connect with the soul. Like you don't just see a troubled child, like many people see. Oh, that's just a child that's just that child just wants attention, or that child just wants to make a scene, or that like many people working in that field has just this tendency of looking at children with this box thinking, where they just put labels on them, where they just see them as a type of child instead of seeing the child as one unique being that is unique in its own way and doesn't fit in a box, because not all children, all children are different, and you have to deal with them all in different ways that are customized to them. And I think you're just very good at seeing just the child, who they are on the inside, without actually seeing like some kind of nasty stereotype, like that child is just a bully, or that child is just like, yeah, there are so many bad terms that are used on children with difficulties that really are not serving them at all in life, and just putting them further into the stereotype and pushing them into it, and kind of to the point where they actually end up acting in the way they think everybody expects them to. And so a bully, if someone has been called a bully all throughout their like first years of their childhood, they are gonna likely become one in the last years of their childhood, because they think that is what is expected. And yeah, and they also likely would get that label even though they would act differently. So they could just as well just embrace it. And so, like, I think there are a lot of I think you could really do a lot of good in not only with children, also with adults, healing adults' inner child, for instance. And so it transfers to that field as well. Psychology could be something you could be very good at. Also working in like a home, or like for adults, like a rehab facility or something, like a homeless shelter or something like that, where it's much about seeing the person and seeing the soul, and not just seeing people as problems that needs to be solved, but seeing them as people with emotions and yeah. With a strength card, I think your strength is your strength. Like you're a very strong person. You're very you're very emotionally strong. You're very yeah, very emotionally strong, very, like, you can take a lot. And that is also something, I'm also sensing that one of your strengths is also your patience. Like, you have enough patience to kind of let people be in the way, like when you have an aggressive child, like many people would probably lose their temper very early on because it's too much or like annoying, but I think you have the patience to kind of be in it and kind of deal with it and know when you have to be tough and when you have to be soft on them, and when to be understanding and when to be strict, and when to set boundaries. And I think many people in that field end up setting, like, the boundaries are good. Children needs to know that, like, this is not the right behavior, and that they have to stop if they do something, like if they bite someone or like, but it's just, I don't know. I think you just have more patience to kind of also explain to the child why it's not good, because that's something that ends up maybe getting left out in raising children as well, for parents, and they kind of end up just saying no and saying stop, and getting the child to stop doing certain things without actually explaining to them why it's so important that they stop doing this, what is wrong with it, and explain how the other person is feeling after that happened, and why it's so important to never do that again, because the other child or the person or the is sad, or like now I'm just simplifying it, I know, but I think you're just very patient and good at, like, explaining to children in a way where they actually understand what they did wrong and why they should never do it again. And yeah. With the Queen of Cups, I think, like, you're just very emotional, not emotional, but very emotionally stable and person, very good at showing that it's okay to have emotions and have reactions. That I think you could also do very good in like writing children's books with, like, good messages that the children understand, because you can explain it in a way where, sorry, I'm a bit distracted because there's a lot of distractions around me, sorry, but yeah. But yeah, I think you're good at I think you could write children's books where you kind of put good messages out there, where you teach children that it's okay to be sad sometimes, it's okay to react sometimes to certain things, and it's okay to like something like that, where you maybe focus on embracing the emotional side that sometimes gets left out because it's like because of the patriarchy, believing that emotions are more feminine than masculine, and that they are then less important than other virtues in life and stuff. I don't know. But so sometimes we neglect the importance of emotions, the weapon that emotions are, and how emotions can actually help us in our life, and are actually more of an armor than something that makes us weak. It's actually making us stronger, and more able to deal with things in life if we are able to actually communicate our emotions more clearly to other people. Yeah. So, and with the Judgment, I think your strength is also likely in your religious beliefs. I think you could have a very good skill or talent to get messages across, maybe to children about religion, or possibly religion. Like you could maybe you could be very good at writing children's Bibles, where you take the stories from the Bible and kind of make them more accessible for children, or do something where you get messages across that has to do maybe with religion or spirituality to children, and make it more consumable for children and more understandable for children. Yeah. You can also see that in the picture here, like the angel with the trumpet and the child here, like getting children to open up to religion or spirituality, and kind of embracing the wonder and the dream and the hope, and getting them to kind of see that there's something more to the world than what we can see. Yeah. Maybe also dealing with children with special abilities, psychic abilities, help them navigate through, like help children who can see spirits or see ghosts, help them cope with it, help them deal with what they are seeing, and help them communicate what they are experiencing, and maybe also helping them either shut down or enhance their abilities, all depending on the child. And I think that's something you can do, because you can actually address whether it's going to be helpful or not helpful for the child to have these abilities. Like you can see if a child is struggling with it, not really doing well because it's a liability, it's not actually helping them, then you can maybe help them shut down and spiritually do some rituals to kind of shield them from what I think you could do that. You could create shields around very, very sensitive, hypersensitive children who are not who shouldn't be too open to the spiritual world, and kind of shield them from it. And then you can take a child where you can sense that this child can actually take it, and then help them make something out of it. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Group number 5, I hope this reading was helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 6. You chose this Tarot D, the Didactic Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So group number 6, the people who will choose group number 6. Group number 6. What are group number 6's strengths? What are their strengths? I am sensing that it's more mind-based. Like, I think it's likely in your rational thinking, logical thinking, your ability to think rationally, your ability to possibly also comprehend very difficult things that people find very complicated and very hard to solve. So maybe your strength is also to solve mysteries, solve problems. Maybe solving math problems, but also solving the bigger issues, like, or trying to find answers to the bigger problems in life. You could be very innovative and very like a pioneer. Also just good at thinking outside the box, but also good at thinking inside the box, and then having that ability to dance from the one thing to the other, like it's nothing, like going from being like very, very, like being very particular and very strict about certain topics like math and stuff like that, where you have to accept the fact that there are one correct answer to a lot of the problems, but being able to take that and also like humor the possibility that there could be another answer to some of the things. But I think you're also very good at determining what things can actually be, like what things can be discovered and like where you can make big discoveries. I feel like you could make a very big discovery in your life, because I think you have that ability to see what's wrong with it, like in math, like there could be like some kind of equation that everybody agrees is very correct and very likely not like there's not any room for new thinking or a new discovery within that particular equation. But I think you have the ability to like see, oh well, there is maybe something well, maybe it's not completely set in stone, and maybe there is room for a small improvement, or flipping it around and looking at it in a different way. Or like, I think you have a very good logical sense, but you can also tell if especially if everybody, I think you get triggered if everybody thinks something is completely correct and one truth. You get kind of like, you want to kind of prove them wrong, because like maybe you have that like that urge to kind of, like, especially if people are being too arrogant about something, it might trigger you to kind of go in the other direction. But I think I still think like you are very good at also, like, especially when it comes to your career or your studies, you know when there's just one correct answer and there's nothing more to be said about that. And like I think you're very good at like excelling in something that is simple, not simple, very complicated, but simple in the sense that there's only one answer. And then also being able to navigate through the complicated things where there are many potential answers, that and like, I think you're good in both. I think you have talents in both, strength in both. I think you have good creative thinking and good logical thinking as well. And I think you could combine those two and actually get something kind of great out of it if you did that. Because I think, like, if you went into like geology, like if you studied geology or studied physics or studied math or chemistry or one of those things, I think you could get quite far because of your creative thinking, because of your innovativeness, like your ability to see like some room for playing around with like something that's set in stone. Kind of would be fun to be in geology, but I think I think you come up with very good ideas. You have good visions. Like I think you could also get some very brilliant ideas in your dreams, for instance, where like you could maybe get some slightly prophetic dreams where maybe you get like something about, well, what if you combine a metal with some kind of acid, maybe that would create something interesting. Like, and then like you could wake up and then, oh, okay, maybe I should write that down and then maybe try it out in the lab. Yeah, because you could have some, like, I think you're very intuitive, so I think you're very likely to get some of those like spiritually guided messages about something that then can become like the next big energy source, or something like that, where getting to the fusion part and like finding ways to make that happen. and stuff like that. I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about your strengths. Okay, so with this card here, it's this card is a bit about, like, it's upside down, but when it's upright, it is a bit like fantasy, imagination sort of thing, but more in the terms of like fairies and stuff, like mystical creature stuff, and it's reversed. And so I think one of your strengths is also to maybe be able to cut out the bullshit, kind of get to the core of things and get rid of all the fluff, kind of getting to the point, simplifying complicated stuff, taking something complicated, minimizing, like compressing it and making it into one sentence that would have been like a 10-page paper into one sentence, like getting it so simple as possible, but saying exactly what is supposed to be said, but without all the fluff. And that is a great strength. Like to be able to take a big equation, for instance, like a big math equation that's like 10 pages long, and compressing it into one sentence, like one equation that's like, well, like finding out a way to, I don't know, but I'm also like that. There's also like the female, the female reproductive system in this card, and it's reversed. So I'm getting that there's more masculine energy. That your strengths are maybe more in the masculine than in the feminine energy. That you're more logical, more task oriented, more like practical thinking, like thinking about how can this actually be used. I'm not gonna waste a lot of time on something that's actually not gonna be used for anything productive. Maybe you also, like, maybe you can't really learn anything unless you can see a purpose in learning it. But still, there is a strength to be able to see the practical aspect of anything. See how, okay, well, this is a math equation, and like it's some numbers on a sheet, and but being able to actually see that, okay, yeah, but if I use this in the real world, it can be used for some, also taking an equation that actually is being used for something completely different, and then take it and use it for something else. Like there are a lot of, I don't know if, like, I think there could be an equation that is used for measuring something in the universe. I think like black matter or something that, or something that can be used to measure black matter that is an equation that's being used for something completely different, in something, maybe in, but like taking something and then use it for something else, like, like taking an equation that maybe has more to do with geology and the elements, and then transferring that to space. That's been done a lot of times, so it's not like, but taking also engineering, like something, I don't know, but so with 9 of Cups reversed, I think your strength is also your ability to see your studies as something that needs to grow. Like when you, this is the perfect way to look at it, and not that I know what's perfect or not. That sounded a bit like I'm a bit full of myself, but when someone starts studying geology or math because they want to grow the field, they want to plant the seeds to grow the field, that's beautiful. And the most beautiful way to look at studying, to see that, okay, I'm actually here to collectively with other people make something, grow something, instead of seeing how, like what that it's gonna grow me, like, oh, then I'm gonna study geology and then I'm gonna become a geologist and then I'm gonna write that on my resume and then I'm gonna get a job and I'm gonna be qualified for it because I've got the qualifications that I've achieved from the studies that I did that made me grow and made me into a blossom, or blossom into a flower, like that. But that's not what it's supposed to be like. It's not supposed to be about you. It's supposed to be about growing the field that is the geology or math, and making discoveries that will make it better, make it broader, make it wider, make it bigger. I don't know. It's about contributing instead of thinking, what can I get out of it? But I think you're very good at seeing that you have a purpose, that you're supposed to do something, you're supposed to give back, you're supposed to your life purpose is to make something, to make the whatever you're studying or whatever you're doing, make it better. I think that's nice. With this card here, it kind of makes me think of, this is a peacock, and so I think one of your strengths is that you're good at attracting I think you could be a very good teacher, because I think you're very good at making people want to be you. I think you could be a very good role model for children, teenagers, people who have interest for a certain field. If you studied geology and became a professor or something, you would be able to attract new students to the studies, to enroll in the university, to study the topic that you have perfected or helped perfect or helped make better or whatever. But I think you're good at motivating, making people want to study and learn and find new things and discover new things and solve problems and solve mysteries, create wonder in people and make people want to learn the thing that you're learning or that you have studied. Or like I think you're a good influencer. Like you're good at yeah. And it's because you're such a good, like you're probably very passionate when you talk about the field you're in, because it's something that's very interesting to you. It's something so people get smitten by it. Like people are interested because they can tell how much you're fascinated by it, and they get fascinated by it too. Like, yeah. With this 0 of water, maybe you're like, you could be a bit 0 water type. That could be two things. It could be that maybe your strength lies within something about water supply. Maybe you could make some kind of discovery that could help with cleansing the water or something. But I'm also getting that like you're very good at maybe not letting your emotions get the best of you, not letting your emotions interfere with your work, not letting your ego interfere with the work, kind of being able to look at things objectively without being subjective about it, without having your, like, yeah, without letting your opinions and experience cloud your judgment on especially things that have to do with academia and studying and I'm also getting with the waste here, like also with this being 0 and then there being waste. There could also be something about going into activism with 0 waste, activism stuff, or making it more like getting some kind of idea that would make it more like make it smarter and not harder. Or something like doing something where there's a quick fix to something, but nobody has thought about it before, and so maybe there is some kind of solution to it that nobody, yeah. But I feel like your strength is really in your ideas, like coming up with something innovative that can fix a practical problem that we are all facing. and make life easier and make for a better future, or like, yeah, something like that. With the 10 of Wands reversed, I think, 10 of Swords reversed. I think, well, I think you have a strength to fix damage that has been done. Can be emotional damage, but I kind of doubt it, because I don't know if you're the most emotional type in the world. But of course, sometimes that is also a good thing. Sometimes, if helping, if you went into something that has to do with healing or human, working with people, or well, you could go into medicine. That's a very good idea, actually. Could also very likely make a very good discovery within medicine. Not necessarily anything emotional, but it could, like, you couldn't go into psychiatry and find out something in psychiatry. Something about the brain, something about neurology or something, but how the amygdala works, or something about pain and emotions, and the link between those, and in the brain, and the different stuff with brain stuff, I guess. Something that could be very likely something about pain relief, finding some kind of treatment for pain that is not medical and not like through chiropractic or chiropracting, or but finding some other solution to pain relief that maybe no one has thought of before, because I feel like that is kind of the theme here, is that I think your strength is that you can think of things that nobody has ever thought of before, and that is a big strength. It's the best one that you can have. It's very cool to be able to have an idea about something that actually can change the world and make it a better place. And yeah, yeah. With the 5 of Swords, I think you could, like, there's something about this thing here in the background that's eating a worm. I don't know why that is really getting in the that was the first thing I thought of when I looked at the card, and so maybe it has a significance that there's like the worm here, and this kind of makes me think of like like people are talking about insects being like the food of the future and stuff like that. I don't know, but but it's very much about the future, what's going to be the whatever in the future, what's going to be the food of the future, what's going to be the fuel of the future, what's going to be the energy source of the future, what's going to be like. And I think your strength is really in seeing what's gonna happen. And so you could be psychic, you could be claircognizant, you could have visions, but you could also just be very good at like making a qualified, logical, practical, rational, like from using what you have, what experience you have, forming an actual rational guess of what the future is going to look like, without all the mumbo jumbo, but just by doing calculations. And I like that. I think that's a good way to do it also. With the Six of Swords, I think you have also have a good ability to know when to leave something. Like if you start a project, or if you have an idea and you want to execute it, or if you find out that, oh, couldn't it be cool if we tried this equation and tried to make it fit something else than what it was intended for in the first place, and see if it fits. Then like if you try it out a few times and it doesn't fit, then I think you have the ability to leave it and say, okay, I tried it, it didn't work, and that's fine. Then we just move on to the next thing, like without getting too focused on making it work or making it fit. Like I think you're good at seeing that, well, that was a fun idea, but it didn't work out, but the next idea will, or likely will, and so move on. And I think that is gonna get you very far in your field, because so many great professors end up spending their whole life trying to prove something that they never end up proving, because it was a dead end from the beginning. But their stubbornness made them dedicate their whole life to it. And like sometimes we just get so, and like we can, I can understand that sentiment, that sometimes we just really wanted to work out, and we had an idea and we really, really want to be like true to that idea. Like we want to be like we feel like we owe the idea something, or we feel like that idea is a part of us, and if we kind of separate from it, we take a part of ourselves out, and like it's kind of saying goodbye to a child, like something you formed. But I think you don't have that separation anxiety. Like you can actually relieve yourself from an idea that you had. You can like kill your darlings. Like you can get that out if you see that it's not really if it doesn't have a purpose, if it doesn't actually help your cause, then you can take it out or leave it or move on, or and I think that's great. So yeah, I think you're gonna do some cool things and I think that's very, very fascinating and exciting. And yeah, but yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Group number 6. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to book one. And have a great day, and bye.